Greetings, sovereign mind. Today, you are not just watching a video. You are standing at the threshold of an inner revolution. She who masters herself commands the world. That's not just poetic, it's stoic. And if you've ever felt the quiet fire inside you, that sense that you were meant for more confidence, more respect, more serenity, then this message is written in the ink of your destiny. Before we dive in, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Why? Because you don't just consume content, you seek transformation. And if you're here, it's because you sense something different about yourself. That subtle strength, that untapped power, and it's time to awaken it. Let's talk about something often misunderstood. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about being unmoved by the chaos, clear in the storm, and deeply rooted in your values when everything around you tries to shake them. And for women, that's not just strength, it's sovereignty. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming who you've always been, beneath the noise. So let's begin with the first Stoic key: inner approval over outer validation. In a world addicted to likes, compliments, and shallow applause, a truly confident woman doesn't chase external approval. She defines her own worth. This is not arrogance, it's clarity. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Now replace man with attention. That's where your power lies. Let me tell you a quick story. Imagine a sculptor day after day, chiseling away at a block of marble. People walk by and scoff. "That's not art," they say. "It looks like nothing." But the sculptor smiles. She knows what she's shaping. She doesn't need their praise. She's already seen the statue in her mind. And when it's done, the same people return in awe. That sculptor is you. When you live by your principles, when your actions align with your values, not trends, you create a life that others may not understand at first, but eventually they respect it. Stoicism teaches you not to be distracted by the applause or discouraged by the boos. They are both echoes of people who don't see the full picture. And let's be honest, how often have you felt that you needed someone to validate your decisions, to feel good about them? That ends here. Confidence begins the moment you realize your opinion of yourself is the only one you actually live with, day in and day out. Everyone else just visits your life. You are the only one who stays. You see, a respected woman doesn't need to explain herself constantly. Her presence, her poise, her quiet certainty speak louder than any defense she could ever give. Because when you stop asking, "Do they like me?" and start asking, "Do I respect myself in this moment?" you switch from being at the mercy of the world to being the architect of your own story. And that's when people really start paying attention. Not because you beg for it, but because you embody something rare. And the rare is always magnetic. The second Stoic key: embrace discomfort as a catalyst for growth. We often hear the phrase, "Step out of your comfort zone." But the Stoic woman doesn't just step out, she lives there. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not just philosophy, that's strategy. There's a dangerous myth that femininity should always be soft, agreeable, and undisturbed. But what if your strength lies not in being untouched by adversity, but in being sculpted by it? When you choose discomfort intentionally, whether it's having a difficult conversation, walking away from a toxic relationship, or standing alone for what you believe, you prove to yourself that your value isn't tied to ease, but to courage. Let's take a moment to picture a blacksmith. The sword isn't forged by gentle whispers. It's shaped in fire, through heat and hammer. You don't become confident by waiting for the world to be kind. You become confident by stepping into the flame and discovering you cannot be burned. One powerful daily practice: choose one thing that makes you slightly uncomfortable and lean into it, not to suffer, but to sharpen. It could be speaking up in a meeting, wearing something bold, or simply saying no when you usually say yes. Each act is a strike of the hammer. Each time, you're not breaking, you're becoming. The woman who embraces discomfort doesn't just survive, she expands. She's not looking to escape life's friction, she uses it to catch fire. Third Stoic key: emotional mastery, not emotional suppression. Let's dismantle a misconception. Stoicism is not emotional numbness. It's not about being a cold, distant statue. It's about choosing your emotional response, like a queen choosing her words, wisely, purposefully, and never from weakness. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You can feel anger, sadness, or disappointment, but the Stoic woman doesn't let these emotions dictate her actions. She pauses, she reflects, she responds, not reacts. Imagine your emotions are horses. They are strong, wild, powerful. Most people let them run wild, dragging them across fields of regret. But the Stoic woman holds the reins. She doesn't kill the horse, she rides it. Let's be raw. How many times have you said something out of frustration and regretted it minutes later? That moment, right there, is where mastery lives. Not in shutting down the emotion, but in sitting with it long enough to see where it comes from and deciding what it deserves. A respected woman isn't the loudest in the room, nor is she the one holding back tears in silence. She is the one who has built a fortress within, where feelings are welcome, but not in charge. And this presence, steady, grounded, and rare, commands attention without ever asking for it. Fourth Stoic key: radical ownership of your life. In a culture quick to blame, quick to point fingers, Stoicism offers something scandalously empowering: responsibility. Not the heavy kind that burdens you, the freeing kind that reminds you, you are the author. Epictetus made it sharp and simple. You may not control all events, but you can always control how you respond. That's not just self-help fluff. That's a revolution in mindset. Here's the uncomfortable truth. As long as you see yourself as a victim of your circumstances, you're giving away your crown. Confidence doesn't come from perfect conditions. It comes from knowing that whatever happens, you respond on your terms. That's ownership. Let's borrow from a parable. A woman plants 2 seeds. One she waters, shields from wind, and protects constantly. The other she leaves exposed, letting it face the elements. Years later, a storm comes. Only one tree stands tall, the one that was never shielded, because it grew stronger through resistance, not protection. You are not meant to be spared. You are meant to be shaped. Owning your past, your flaws, your mistakes, and even your desires. That's not weakness. That's sovereignty. When you stop waiting for someone else to fix it, save you, recognize you, you become unstoppable. People respect the woman who says, yes, this is my life, and I own every inch of it. 2 powerful habits. Stop complaining. Start choosing. Every complaint is an admission of lost control. Every choice is a declaration of power. Fifth Stoic key: detach from outcomes, attach to process. We live in a world obsessed with results. The job title, the follower count, the relationship label. But here's the Stoic truth. They are illusions, ephemeral, slippery, and chasing them often leaves you empty, even when you win. Instead, the respected woman finds fulfillment in the doing, not just the getting. She becomes a master of the process. Why? Because she knows she cannot guarantee outcomes, but she can dominate her effort, her discipline, her presence. And that's where real confidence is built. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which arm you today." That's powerful. Stop gripping so tightly to how things must go. Instead, ask, am I showing up fully? Am I aligned with who I want to become, not just what I want to get? Let me give you a modern example. A woman applies for a dream role. She prepares thoroughly, shows up with grace and clarity, and doesn't get the job. Most would crumble, but not her. Why? Because her confidence wasn't rooted in outcome. It was in integrity. She knew she gave her best, and that's what builds resilience. When you fall in love with the process, your routines, your growth, your learning, you no longer fear loss. You understand that success is not a single point on the horizon. It's a rhythm, a way of being. And that rhythm, it makes you undeniable. Sixth Stoic key: surround yourself with stillness. In a noisy world that constantly demands your reaction, your opinion, your energy, stillness is rebellion. It's not laziness, it's clarity. The Stoic woman carves out silence not to escape life, but to understand it. Seneca said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." But how would you even know what's real if you never pause long enough to hear your own thoughts? Stillness isn't just peace, it's power. It's in the quiet that you sharpen your discernment. It's in the pause that you realize which battles are worth fighting and which ones are just noise. You don't rise by screaming louder. You rise by walking with intention, while the crowd loses itself in distraction. There's a reason ancient Stoics valued time alone. Not to be isolated, but to reconnect with their core. And in the modern world, stillness is radical. A respected woman doesn't always respond to every message, doesn't chase every opportunity, doesn't attend every event. She chooses, she curates, she protects her energy like royalty guards the gates. A simple daily act of stillness, 5 minutes of reflection, deep breathing, or journaling, can do more for your confidence than an hour of validation seeking. Because in the silence, you meet the truest version of yourself. And when you are deeply rooted in that place, no opinion, rejection, or noise can shake you. So let's bring it all together. Confidence and respect don't come from performance. They come from alignment, from choosing values over trends, clarity over chaos, growth over comfort, mastery over reaction, process over outcome, and stillness over noise. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to lead yourself with such authenticity and presence that others have no choice but to respect it. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be powerful. And power, real power, doesn't shout. It radiates. The Stoic woman doesn't need the world to bow to her. She just needs to never bow to anything that contradicts her deepest self. Now, ask yourself this: which of these 6 keys are you already holding? And which one are you ready to claim? If this resonated with you, if something in your soul stirred just a little, then don't let it fade. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and join a growing circle of minds who don't just want to feel better. They want to be better. This is more than content. This is your call to rise.